Hello, my name is Mary Pierce, and the person I'm going to be talking about is Malcolm X. Malcolm X is an African American leader in the 1950s through 60s. He was born on May 19, 1925, in Omaha, Nebraska. He had a dad, Earl Little, who was a preacher and a part of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and supporter of a black nationalist leader, Marcus Garvey. He was one of the 7 other siblings his mother Louise had. Growing up, Malcolm X's family was harassed by groups like the Ku Klux Klan. Little moved his family due to continuous harassment. He moved from Nebraska to Michigan. While they lived in Michigan, their house was set on fire and the racism continued to grow. In the year 1931, his dad was murdered by white supremacists. Over the years, Malcolm X had a troubled childhood and went to prison. While in prison, he read many books and converted to the Nation of Islam. He went back to Michigan and began to work with the leader of Islam, Elijah Muhammad. He became a leading voice of the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King was not his biggest fan. He did not believe in violence the way Malcolm X did. Before a speech on February 21st, 1965, he was shot 15 times at the age of 39. The speech that I will give is called Message to the Grassroots. This speech was given in Detroit, Michigan. This speech defined him as a major part of the civil rights movement. This speech outlined his viewpoints towards what was going on during this time. As long as a white man sent you to Korea, you bled. He sent you to Germany, you bled. He sent you to the South Pacific to fight the Japanese, you bled. You bled for white people, but when it comes to seeing your own churches being bombed and little black girls murdered, you haven't gotten any blood. You bleed when the white man says bleed. You bite when the white man says bite. And you bark when the white man says bark. I hate to say this about us, but it's true. How are you going to be nonviolent in Mississippi as violent as you were in Korea? How can you justify being nonviolent in Mississippi and Alabama when your churches are being bombed and your little girls are being murdered? If violence is wrong in America, violence is wrong abroad. If it is wrong to be violent defending black women and black children and black babies and black men, then it is wrong for America to draft us and make us violent abroad in defense of her. And if it is right for America to draft us and teach us how to be violent in defense of her, then it is right for you and me to do whatever is necessary to defend our own people right here in this country. Right at that time, Birmingham had exploded. That's when Kennedy sent in the troops down in Birmingham. After that, Kennedy got on the television and said, "This is a moral issue." That's when he said he was going to put out a civil rights bill. And when he mentioned civil rights bill and Southern crackers started talking about how they were going to boycott or filibuster it, then the Negroes started talking. About what? That they were going to march on Washington, march on the Senate, march on the White House, march on the Congress, and tie it up before it to a halt. Not let the government proceed. They even said they were going out to the airport and lay down on the runway and not let any airplanes land. I'm telling you what they said. That was revolution. That was revolution. That was the Black Revolution. It was the grassroots out there in the street. It scared the white man to death. Scared the power structure in Washington, D.C. to death. I was there when they found out that this black steamroller was going to come down on the Capitol. They called in Wilkins. They called in Randolph. They called in these national Negro leaders that you respect and told them, "Call it off," Kennedy said. "Look, you are letting these things go too far." And old Tom said, "Boss, I can't stop it because I didn't start it." I'm telling you what they said. They said, "I'm not even in it, much less at the head of it." They said, "These Negroes are doing things on their own." Thank you.